One thing about me, I love my little internet boyfriends. You know who they are. They're like the 8 dudes that live in your DMs that you've maybe met once or twice, but they respond to every single story that you post. And they'll send you heart eye emoji, something really flirty, and you're always just like, back, angel face, smiley face, just heart in the message. I will never date these men. I will never interact with them in person. But just that little flirtatious exchange, it just feeds that little dopamine monster just enough to keep me going.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want anything more from them. I don't want anything less. I need them to stay exactly where they are, which is little tiny robots that essentially live in my phone to pay me compliments. Low effort compliments. Their story reactions, I know that. But if they're hitting me up, I go, that one's fire. I bet my real life crush is gonna like that. That one hit different because this guy said, wow, heart eye emoji. And I love it. I'll never get sick of them. I'll keep them forever. Like little tiny presents in my phone.
Now do you understand why women will be in relationships and then also be posting these pictures on Instagram that they probably shouldn't be posting? It's literally for the attention, the validation, the dopamine. Why have one man when you can have 1,000 men?
Women are good to you when they see value in you. Women are good to you when they see value in you. Women are terrible to you when they see no value to you. I actually think men are nicer. Men are nicer naturally than women in terms of we might see someone we don't like, but we'll still try to be courteous to them. You know, there might be a woman that wants us or something, and we're not going to be mean to them. Women are just, they can be mean. And I say that, I mean, they are. I mean, again, I'm not experiencing it, I'm seeing it. There's a difference, okay? Experiencing and seeing are two different things. And so I see, you know, especially when they don't want someone or something, how they discard people. And so you got to know this. Women are not innocent. They're not special. They're none of that, okay? They're not special until you decide they're special. They're not valuable until they provide you value. And so I'm telling you, I've been telling you this.
Men, welcome to Economics 101. When you want to determine the value of anything, there's only one thing to understand. What energy was applied to make us so special? In the case of the modern woman, there really doesn't appear to be anything at all to differentiate between them and the free samples at a local grocery store. Make no mistake, everything in this world is founded on the barter system. Depending on how much effort was applied to a particular thing, that will determine if it's worth your time and effort to acquire it. So what about women? Well, the world has taught us that very little effort is applied to that position at all. Not anymore. There was a time when the female role was filled with various duties. Men were once usually able to rely on them by knowing that the house would be in order while they threw themselves against the unmerciful market. Not anymore. Not by a long shot. Today, this feels almost like a work of fiction. These venomous broads march to the beat of their own drum. They expect everything to be handed to them because of a totally fabricated sense of suffering. Moreover, they don't even stop to lend each other a hand if it doesn't help their bottom line. Before we go any further into the video, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to James Spivey, who said, "These E304s don't regret OnlyFans, they're just not making the money they want. If they were, they would continue. And they blame society when they aren't making enough. Can't believe it." So please, don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always guys, I'll pick one comment from each video. It could be the funniest, it could be the most liked, or just one that moved me. So don't forget to leave a comment and you could be tomorrow's winner. So be sure to hit that like and sub button as it helps out a ton. So now let's get right back into the video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Would you say that women have a really bad habit of enabling self-sabotaging behavior in their peers?
Yes, and they do a really great job of enabling other women to do terrible things so that they don't get their men. And women sabotage each other so they don't get high value men. So like when I got into a really healthy relationship, that's more on the traditional side.
Yeah.
All the women hated me and stopped being friends with me. They were like, this is terrible for you. Like, get out of this. This is toxic. And I'm like literally waiting for marriage. So excited about my future.
What are some of the terms that they told you?
They told me he was toxic. They told me I was being weird and trad. I was trying to be trad and that I was a bad girl and like I shouldn't fall for that. What happened to my career? Why am I not being a boss babe? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, you've lost a lot of weight. Like, I don't know if that's good for you. Like, maybe you should try to gain the weight back. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, who are you guys like promoting this?
Congratulations on that, because obviously weight loss is always very difficult. And, we live in a very, especially for women, it kind of sucks because we rarely tell women the truth, especially when it comes to their body because of their feelings, right? We have this whole body positivity movement for females. And I think it's very destructive, which makes sense as to why there's more fat women than fat men. Because at the end of the day, a fat woman can still find a guy.
Minions! Tonight, we steal the moon!
Yup, you're all original and special. Guys, this is what the West has become. A hive mind that uses feminism to circumvent the challenges that men always face. These women will gather around one another if it means they get a 20% raise for spending their free time on TikTok. However, if one steps out of line and tries to welcome back the traditional values that led to stable unions, they are immediately ostracized. Because of this, they simply won't do it. Naturally, women are biologically inclined to preserve their reputation at all costs, even if it means steamrolling over a family provider. In the Western world, it's best not to think you can come across an honest woman without hidden baggage. One look at their phone and you're bound to find Chad and Tyrone in the DMs, along with a female network encouraging them to go rogue as soon as you get a promotion. They leave men in the dust simply because the mob beckons them to return to the fold. So many married guys had to learn this the hard way. Picture this, you find yourself attracted to a Western woman and end up tricking yourself into believing they are the one. She's not like the other girls, you tell yourself. She shares my interests and she says she doesn't want anything from me other than my love and reliability. Fast forward just 5 years, you're working at your difficult job and you're looking forward to coming home to a nice meal she once promised would be there every time you step through the door. Instead, you enter a messy house with nothing in the fridge. You look over and see the woman who promised everything doing nothing on the phone you paid for. She explains that she saw a few single influencers giving relationship advice, encouraging her to drop everything because a homemaker is somehow shameful. You explain that you are doing everything you can to provide for the kids you've had together, and she says you need to carry half of the load. You get into a heated argument, explaining that your 12-hour shift doesn't leave room for these simple chores. Suddenly, she goes on the offensive. This supposed love of your life starts shaming you for going out with your friends once a week to blow off steam. She starts parroting the mantra of the woke masses. My body, my choice. I sacrifice too much. I deserve more than this. Boom. It hits you harder than Tyson hit Spinks. This woman, who once told you she'd act like the backbone of the household, more closely resembles Brie Larson, making her speech before nuking the Marvel franchise. As the relationship deteriorates, you decide the trust you built no longer exists and you take a look at her phone. There it is, Chad and Tyrone in the DMs, and dozens of forums in her search history teaching her how to run off with half your money. You confront her, but when you look deep into her eyes, you realize that the latest feminist has already been activated, programmed to reject responsibility and damn you for putting her in a fictional cage of her own making. 100 years ago, this might be considered a dramatic leap, a story that only plays out in a silly book. Today, we know that this is actually one of the lighter instances of grand larceny men are forced to witness every day.
You know, in today's society, I think it's cruel and unusual punishment to be sentenced to 5 years in prison with rapists and murderers and child molesters for missing a court date. Because that's basically what happened. I missed a court date.
You missed being a father.
Because to this day, I still don't have proof.
Once you don't show up for court,
right,
Mr. Mansur, yeah.
I guarantee you there's
you
thousands.
understand that now, that in this country, you got to show up for court.
Well,
if you got to walk there.
You're right.
You need to be there.
Okay.
And then you plead
so
guilty.
for every American boy out there, that goes to Florida on spring break and hooks up with a girl, and the girl goes to Texas, and the boy goes back to Massachusetts, and there's a petition to show up.
Yes.
If he can't fly from Massachusetts to Texas, he's automatically the national fun.
He better find a
There's
way.
gonna be-
Mr. Manser, you are not
Oh, God.
his father.
Oh, man. 5 years in prison. Dylan, I'm sorry, bro. This is why. This is why I did what I did.
But this is
and acted-
nothing I made up. The lab did
You
it.
made it all up. You
No,
made
I
those-
did not.
Well, those results
I
apparently
don't know
are made
any
up.
of those people on that form.
Oh, my God.
This is clearly the most shocking
Very much.
news we've ever gotten in this courtroom.
Oh, my God. She should be convicted of some crime.
No, I should not. I didn't.
That
Mr.
is
Manser,
fraud.
Mr. Manser,
That is fraud.
I know you're upset. I know it's overwhelming. I need a moment with Dylan because I want to make sure he understands. Do you want to find out who your father is?
Of course.
Miss Sear, do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talk to him still.
Listen,
Get away from my son.
he apologized.
And under another breath, he's calling me a liar.
You cannot stand there and really suggest that you cannot comprehend why this man would not have any type of ill feeling, frustration, or regret as it relates to anything involving you. 5 years in prison. And then I say, do you know who your son's father is? And you say, yes, I'm still in touch with him. That is a really huge pill to swallow. Dylan?
A huge pill to swallow indeed. All men in states governed by feminist ideologues know that the law is simply a device for the disgruntled 304. Everywhere you look, an innocent guy is being cancelled or thrown in prison because the system has been hijacked and redesigned to treat hollow women like martyrs every time they break a nail. Since the beginning of documented history, men have faced life-threatening situations and hostile environments. Centuries of strength training has given us the resilience to rise up to the challenge. We know that everything doesn't come to us on a silver platter. We have to fight for everything we feel we deserve. The second Western women realized they would have to take on the same burden for their illogical goals, they immediately started labeling it a hate crime. Everything had to fit the mold of their dystopian vision, and if it didn't, they threw massive tantrums until people started bending their knees. Do we see plus-sized male mannequins in retail stores? Do we have a history month? Do we see scholarships for what we have between our legs? Of course not. And yet, we build the facilities that women exploit to further their agenda. We are the ones who made history. The male journey is one rife with rejection and hardship, and real men understand this and carry the weight with pride. Meanwhile, these thoughts want us to open doors after they open their legs for the entire neighborhood.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who appreciates being simped on more, men or women?
I think men.
That is such a freaking good question, by the way.
Because, and I'm going somewhere with that. If you get something all the time, it has no value. Okay? The reason why the woman needs to care more is because we're already operating from a deficit as a man. You're already getting simps hitting you up. You're already getting, opportunities. You're already getting guys willing to spend money on you, protect and provide for you for nothing more. Hold on. But the point is that women don't appreciate chivalry anymore, which is why I said chivalry is dead. So to overcorrect for this crazy discrepancy in 2023, the woman must care more about the man because, quite frankly, I hate to say it like this, women are terrible people when they have leverage. They don't appreciate things because they're given everything for simply existing, and I don't blame you guys for it.
This is exactly what men have been saying for years, and OnlyFans girls and feminists clearly missed the memo. The concept of value isn't a foreign concept to men, but it is to every woman on this side of the aisle. More often than not, we see people who have been given everything grow up to be an anchor to society. They walk the earth, not questioning what it takes to earn your keep, but feeling that they deserve it simply because they were born. Looking at society today, all you see are women crossing their arms with a royal sense of entitlement, and it's because the environment has been warped to make every one of these used-up chicks think they're the main character of the story, or more accurately, the princess missing the glass slipper. Take weddings as one of the most common examples. Most Western females think that a ceremony that lasts a few hours should cost more than the average guy's yearly salary. They unironically demand an expensive dress they'll only wear once. Perhaps the funniest part is that all of them want this piece to be white to symbolize purity. However, if you ask the guys she probably bedded at the club, they'd be inclined to share some activity that makes this request laughable satire. Then they wish to stand under an arch adorned with enough expensive floral arrangements to fill Versailles. The Western marriage is quite possibly the concentrated representation of the feminazi regime. It's a false portrayal of past innocence, acting as a curtain to hide the lack of investment the woman has or will make in any of their relationships. When you look at what it costs for the male end of the ceremony, the stark difference is enough to make your head spin. You rent a suit and tie, that's literally all there is. Your future alimony payment is getting dressed up and paraded around like she's about to rule a small country, while the simp naive enough to take the bait sits in the corner with a glass of scotch. If you take a few steps back, most holidays and our events are like this. Valentine's Day isn't a day devoted to the couple. It's a day 304s have modeled to be appreciated for simply sleeping in your bed. The Christmas bill is almost always on the husband's shoulders. A Father's Day usually only involves eating a breakfast in bed that the dad of the year paid for. There has never been a point in human development where men have received nearly the amount of undeserved praise Western women get almost every month of the year. In addition to the pat on the back that theory receives just for waking up in the morning. Take a look at this classic.
I personally don't think that the top football players in the world should be paid as much as they do. I think it's ridiculous.
Literally, the men fund our leagues and we will still whine that we don't get paid enough. And honestly, when athletes do shit like this, it makes all of us look bad. Because instead of being thankful for the league that we have, we go out and whine and complain about the pay.
I mean, as I said, I'm not whining. You sound like you're maybe doing a bit of whining. But like personally, I don't think we should be whining. I think people should be organising. If you want a pay increase, join a union, get out there and fight for it. That's my view.
Should the women footballers get the same as the men?
Ultimately, like, it's not going to change.
Footballers lost
It's not going to change unless they organise.
Let me ask you this. On talent alone, for example, as a yardstick, the US women's football team were beaten by a group of under 15 boys from Texas, right? Who were very good, under 15 boys, but their under 15 boys team beat them, I think, about 8-9-0 or something. So why should women footballers, who are clearly nowhere near as good as their male counterparts, just technically, why should they get paid anything like as much money?
Well, I mean, you know, it sucks, doesn't it, that, like, as a woman, yeah, okay, you play volleyball. I'm a surfer. I absolutely love surfing. It's very hard for women to build up a body strength. This is something that I've learned very much the hard way. And so,
surfers, by the way, there is equal pay.
Yeah, there is. And actually, you know, it's one of those sports where...
Can a woman be as good as a man or not?
Well, it's different. It's a different sport, really. It's not, you know, it's the same sport, but it's very different watching a woman surf than it is watching a man surf because, you know, the average male body is different from the average woman, woman's body for all these...
But is there any actual technical reason why a woman can't do with a surfboard what a man can do?
Yeah, there's loads of reasons. Like, it's about the upper body strength. It's about, like, the way that the body is built.
So should women surfers at the elite level get the same as men?
But, like, again, I think it just is different. Like, it's a different kind of game and people watch it.
Oh, you're shaking your head.
No, I just think when we start making the same amount of money as the men, then we should get paid the same as the men. I don't hear the men whining about OnlyFans models getting paid more than them. I don't hear the men whining about models getting paid more than them. Kendall Jenner is the highest paid supermodel. Where are the male supermodels? But whenever men dominate in an industry, women will just complain.
If complaining were a sport, women would easily be at the top of the charts. When it comes to failing in these industries, they have nobody but themselves to blame. Plenty of these thoughts will spend hours decorating poorly worded phrases on paper and wave them around in the streets for hours. When you ask any of them how often they apply the same amount of energy to watching members of their sex play basketball, soccer, or whatever else, they stare blankly into space. The fact of the matter is, they're not even interested in many of the systems men have created to make the world a better place. We have pilots and doctors entering fields where they are woefully unqualified just so they can say they can. Then, when the plane goes down or a patient dies on the operating table, they'll cry foul. Somehow their failure is because the control panel was laid out in a sexist way, or the surgical equipment wasn't designed for female hands. When a man makes such an error, he loses his job. We've been raised to understand that underperformance is unacceptable and actions have consequences. It's really no surprise that the Western world is falling apart at the seams. So many soy boys have handed over the keys to these maniacs who don't even know how to drive, and now the everyday guy is paying the price, even though they had no part in the decision-making process.
You see that flower? That flower was in a small pot in my living room, but it outgrew its surroundings, so I transplanted it here in the garden.
Seems like it's doing okay.
Oh, yes, it's flourishing. Now, when I pulled the flower out of the small pot in my living room, it resisted a little, you know. It tried to hang on by its roots. I had to force it out.
Because you thought it would do better out here. In the world, right?
No, because I thought if I left it there, it would stop growing.
It's time to find a new space to grow. Men who have gone their own way understand that the Western woman is as useful as a hammer without a handle. As stated in the beginning, value requires energy. Everything worth your precious time has had an immense amount of energy applied to it. When it comes to these chicks trying to use men as their own personal ATMs, it's best to leave them to their own devices, because, as it turns out, they don't have any. They have spent no time building themselves into anything that resembles an asset. There's no reason to waste time encouraging the myth. Rather, it's best to focus on things that lead to guaranteed results. In the end, you'll be grateful, and you'll thank your past self for the competence to choose a life devoid of nonsense and self-pity. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.